tell Paul about your neighbor, Doug Hall. Tell him about that guy.
Like deck the hall?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I told him. You remind me at Christmas, I'd like to deck the hall. He figured he better walk away.
Yeah. Well, you're a tough guy back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, that Doug Hall, he was kind of an idiot anyway. He wondered if he could help me on the sawmill. But he'd work for about an hour, then he'd leave. Well, what good was that? So then I fixed up the mill. Well, it was automatic. He come over and he sat there in his truck for quite a while. I was sawing lumber, and then he went back home. Well, but he's no good if he comes only once every 15 minutes. You know, but that idiot that come down, you know, he was lazy old fart. He helped me a little bit, eh? Then he ran over a stump and hung up a Kubota tractor. So then I get my chainsaw underneath there and cut that stump slowly, because if it got stuck in there, then I'd never get it out.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So
that was about the end of his help. So I would never use him for a partner. He's a crook. Like Don was helping me, I guess, empty this building, whatever it was, and he was biting Don's leg, and he says, nobody kicks my dog. And I said, really, he shouldn't. It's your ass should be kicked for letting that dog bite.
Yeah.
So him and his wife and kids went home, and I'd made this toilet, dug it down and made it nice and deep. He says, would you mind building a toilet over somewhere else? I says, well, I built it. You go build one. I said, get your damn ass in gear. You ain't doing nothing. Yeah. And one time, like, he kept using it. And he come out. I guess he wanted to go to the bathroom. So I went, geez, damn near shit himself. He run to the house and slammed the door. Yeah.
What about the Custers?
Mrs. Custer?
Yeah.
Then, of course, her son was there. He kind of inherited the place.
Was that...
No, Ray was the one that was deaf. And I guess was a bunch of flies. And his brother were out there and he's shooting. Well, he's still up. Well, he's deaf. He can't hear that. He was shooting upstairs. He could have bit the green wiener there. I was talking to, what's his face there? Guess that'd be her son. And she come out of the pantry. Mother's feeling good today. He goes. Although she didn't even see us, you know. But I helped Carl Custer for how many years with his sawmill. And then he kind of wanted to quit, so I started. Then he come back, you know, just for help. He would give me a little help on it. He says, I can't do it for long, but I can help you for a little while. And then Ernest come along just for the heck of it, so he helped me for, you know, a little while. He wasn't going to be there very long.
I remember Uncle Carl. He was old guy, lived in the yard.
Old Carl Olson.
Yeah, he used to go for long walks every day.
Yeah. He lived on squirrel for a long time, that Uncle Carl.
Really?
He'd go hunting and he'd eat the squirrel, and then he'd share it with a magpie. Now he made a living with them. Got squirrels, and he could set, and then he sold the hide. I remember one time, that Marlene with Carl called Uncle Dink. You say, hey, Uncle Dink. Well, that's what Marlene called him.
Yeah, well, what you say in front of children, they hear you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Say, Uncle Dink, Dad got him deer.
Dale got stung by a bee at the mill one time.
Mm-hmm.
What happened there?
Well, he had more than one bee sting. Like I was up, I had that shed there, and then some bees got in there. And so Dale, I says, I'm going to get those bees out of there. So he run way out in the middle of the yard, and Dale yelled out, "He got me!" And yet here I am, killing those bees, and he ran out the yard, got him. Poor Dale.
I thought he got one right there one time.
Yeah, right between the eyes. Then he couldn't see even hardly.
Oh man.
He had to hold the eyeballs open to see where he's going. And the same thing happened in the truck. It hit the visor or whatever. And it went into the truck. Dale, he got me. He didn't like bees anyway. They didn't like him either.
I didn't like bees either.
But this one time, it was a day where it had snowed. And then it was melting, and it was really noisy in the bush, like you'd hear clumps of snow fall down. And I said, Dale, it's a good time to be hunting. There's noise there, and they really can't hear you then when there's all kinds of noise. So I said, like he didn't have a gun or anything. I said, you just look for deer. And one day, I said, don't make any noise. What the hell's he looking at? So I bent down a bit at his height, and there was a deer standing there. Boom! Got him. I wouldn't have got him, not for Dale, but I said, you don't make any noise and stand back, eh? So got that deer, and I said, you got to help him skin him out now. I said, you're going to have to learn sometime, but he learned too well already. Like he got an elk and a deer already.
Do you remember that time Lori was going to Ada's birthday? And Lori had her cake, getting out the car. And she
Kaplop.
Yeah. I remember that was a funny one.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the story with Donnie at Christmas Eve?
Yeah, Christmas Eve, you mean?
Yeah.
They come over and had a Jehovah's Witness meeting.
Oh, no.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Really?
So he ended up, he peed himself, and Marlene had to give him a pair of her shorties. He was all wet.
Oh, dear.
Christmas Eve, yeah.
Didn't they do donuts up the driveway?
Yeah. It was another time, I guess it was Dawn and David having a fight.
Oh.
And I guess Gary, he got a hold of Dawn, and I got a hold of Jim. And I thought I would have sooner had Dawn, because Jim was pretty husky at that time.
Oh, yeah.
So then I got a hold of, all right, sucker, you're going to get it now.
Uh-oh.
And then pretty soon he says, I can't move. I says, that's the idea.
You sat on Jim?
I held him down, yeah.
Well,
Dawn would have been easy, but Gary had him.
I didn't know you were that strong.
Well, not anymore.
Well, back then, I guess they looked up to you because you were older. You were the brother-in-law who was older and cooler, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, but Jim, he was... He liked to fight, eh? And he bragging himself up, and was it one time he said, I could lift the engine out of a car, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'd like to see that. And he says, oh, I can't lift it. He was bragging that he could.
Oh, he told a lie.
Well, maybe at one time he could, I don't know. That's a bunch of bull, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Oh, tell him about those little books you used to give to people that had a zap in it. And you used to have electric charge in the book, and you'd get the uncles, you get Donnie or Dave or whoever. Tell Paul about that.
But anyways, Don, he couldn't take any shock, but this book had a little shock to it, eh? And the old Jew, he showed everybody this thing, and I looked at it, yeah, it was pretty good, and I gave it to Don, and it damn hit the ceiling. He didn't want to destroy it, he'd have to buy it. As you wreck it, you buy it. But he couldn't take a little wee shock of any description. So then he left that alone.
Yeah, no, you tried that on me. I dropped it for sure.
Oh, did you?
I did.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Like even pouring cement, like you gotta have a little power there. Yow! He'd go, his hands would fly up. I didn't feel much of a shock there, but I mean, it was a little. He must have been shortened out a little bit or something causing that. But he wouldn't touch that machine anymore for pouring cement.
That book was a terrible thing.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
And waterbed. So anyways, you had to have, you know, a amount of water so that your elbows didn't touch the wood and stuff. This morning I go to bed, and same thing. I'm hitting the boards. I couldn't figure what the hell was happening. So finally I figured it out. Marlene was draining it. Every night I come there to go to bed, my elbows touching the ground again. This happened 4 times in a row, and I finally figured out what was happening was Marlene draining it. I said, what in the world are you draining it for? Well, David said there's so many pounds on there. And I said, well, that's bullshit. You can't have your elbows hitting the boards. I said, that's it. That waterbed's out of here. You with it. She didn't leave, but I mean, I said, it's out of there. But that didn't last too long. Then I decided to build a house. She said, well, you go ahead and build a house, and then, you know, somebody comes along and you know, takes your house. Yeah, he went to Hawaii. She says, you have to sell that house, and you have to give me half. That's the law. She goes, I still remember that. I said, law and good riddance. So that was the end of that one. Like, Alphonse was a pretty good guy. Go fishing with him. But Ernest, he always liked to fight. He got a little bit of beard, didn't want to fight, eh? Yeah, that was pretty good in those days. Like, blueberry season. Mother had a grapple. She just kept raking all the blueberries in. And then we went down to the shop and got the forge blower going. Blew most of the leaves off, so then that made it pretty easy. Was she ever picking up those blueberries?
Yeah. Well, I told Paul that your father was making moonshine.
Yeah, he got caught with moonshine different times.
Yeah. I don't think you ever made moonshine or wine or anything.
Well, I had to help him make it, so I knew exactly how to make it.
Yeah. But some people used to go blind back in the day, I heard, because it wasn't good.
Well, if you don't make it right, like Dad, he knew how to. He made it in Quebec, in fact, and revenue guys were after him. That's when he moved up north.
Oh, like the tax police?
Hey?
Is that who was after him? The Revenue Canada or tax guys?
Yeah, like he got caught one time. He had a Model A. He had moonshine there in the Model A, so then they seized it. And then, of course, when you instead of being able to bail that out, he didn't have the money. So he had to go back moonshining again.
Oh.
So he ended up going to Fort Saskatchewan for making moonshine. And then on the way up there, they had handcuffs on him. So Dad is something like my fingers are missing. So he just slipped the handcuffs on. So he took them off and he tied her to an old squaw.
Oh no.
He wished he had kept his mouth shut. So there she was beating on him. Let me go, let me go. Yeah. Yeah, the good old days.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, I told Paul that you got a brother Paul, who's the tall one. And I don't know why Pauls are always tall, but seems like.
Yeah, I don't think you'd have much on him for height. He's a pretty tall boy. I don't know where he got that from. I didn't get no height like that.
He was just in the Paul Club.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in his 90s now. He's done pretty good.
Wow, that's
He doesn't
good.
have any, like his legs are shot, but I mean, for other than that, he's quite healthy. He phones quite often.
Yeah, he must have got the genetic lottery
Yeah,
or
and
something.
then he turned, he's always Jehovah's Witness, but he don't act it sometime.
No. I never knew him that well because mostly Ernest and Alphonse came to visit. I'd never seen Paul much. He didn't
But
come
Ernest and
around.
Alphonse,
Yeah.
well, they're all altogether different. Alphonse was nice, but Ernest, you couldn't trust him much.
What about your sisters? Marguerite, Alice.
Yeah, they're good people. They always were.
Marguerite was,
And then, of course, Germaine passed away.
yeah, I heard that.
Then Yvonne's in bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
And then her husband died, Richard, he died.
Yeah.
And then Paul's wife, her name was Edith. Well, being French, he'd say, "Hey, idiot." She didn't like that at all.
No.
It didn't much like Edith. "Hey, idiot."
Sounds
Her
like
eyeballs just be going a mile a minute.
sounds like Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
Well, you took a nice trip to Alaska with Marguerite and Henry. I like your pictures of the glacier and the ocean.
I laugh at Henry. He had a real bad fuse all the time, eh? And then he had a stretcher from his brother, which he'd passed away. And then he bought that stretcher for himself. So he come over, we're going to put a fence on. I said, "I got the fences all up in place. All you got to do is put the staples on." So all of a sudden he had to get the stretcher. I said, "You don't stretch them little wires in the middle. The one on each end, you stretch them and that's it." "Oh, I gotta stretch them." I said, "Look what you're doing to that fence." You know, everything was going every which way and crooked as hell, bending the post. And I said, "Look what you're doing." I said, "Look how crooked it is now. I'm going to get that tractor and doze it all off, start over." Then I said, "I might have to go to the hospital if you do that." "Well, how come?" "Get my foot out of your ass." So he decided to leave that alone. I said, "You just go do something else." I said, "You're just wrecking everything." And fixed it up, straightened it out, and undone some of the stuff he done. But like, that's the way he worked, real quick and in a hurry, not paying no attention, just a bunch of squawking. But finally got the house built, but not without a bunch of squawking.
Yeah.
Well, Henry's a nice guy, but a little short fuse, so
Yeah. Well, keeps it interesting.
yeah. But then there's this truck wouldn't start, and he was bitching away and wrenches flying every which way. "Oh shit, here's your problem." "Where?" "FORD." "Oh, you dirty rotter." Should get a Chevy, you know, a damn Ford. Yeah.
So,
But the best was a guy named Bill Taylor. He worked for the CPR for probably 100 years, not quite, but many, many years. Then he wanted me to build him a house, but it had to be a really fancy one, eh? So he worked on that and built it, and they're quite happy with it. And then he had to build him a fish dam, had to make holes in the ice during the winter and then drive these poles in, and then made it you could walk on both sides and do some fishing and stuff like that. Then one day in the fish pond, like, he put horses in there just to get the grass all cleaned up. And I says, "How many horses you put in the fish pond?" And he said, "3. "Why?" "Well, there's 4 in there now." "Well, how in the hell did that happen?" "Have you never heard about the birds and the bees?" Like, he got this horse that come around, but he did it twice and she didn't catch, but this one time she did. And so then Helene was there when she heard about the birds and the bees. She laughed like hell. Well, he had to drop his coffee immediately. It could fall in the fish dam and drown. But that colt, like, he's had to give it a treat. Like, give it some oats, and then one day he was late giving him oats. Kicked him, damn near got him in the balls, eh?
Ow.
He punched him right in the nose. He says, "I'm getting a cowboy. You're going to get a lesson." He didn't care for that.
oh my goodness.
But Helene Taylor, she never told a joke, you know, that was Bill Taylor's. And then she says, what did the elephant say when he seen his first man in the nude? How are you going to support yourself with that? But Helene Taylor, that's, she was a teacher for, I don't know, 31 years or something. I never thought she'd come up with that kind of, any kind of a joke, let alone that one. But she was a really nice person.
Oh, yeah. I remember them. We used to go over there sometimes.
But old Bill, he got cancer and he never fought it. He worked for a while and all of a sudden that was it, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how it is in life. You can be rich and don't matter.
Yeah.
If your health goes, that's it.
Of course, I built that house and big machine shed and a lot of fencing. Because, he was going to make lots and sell them to people, which he did, quite a few.
Well, you built a lot of houses.
Yeah. Well,
actually.
Yeah.
Do you remember your accident you had?
My accident?
Yeah, when the planer.
How can I forget the leg? There it is. It wasn't the sawmill that caused it. Yeah, the planer mill, yeah. It was on the deck with glare ice and, of course, it was slippery. Put your hand out, not go in there head first. Well, then the fingers were in the planer. So I got this guy to drive me to the hospital, and I didn't think I was going to make it. They're just flying over those hills. I wasn't worried about the fingers anymore. See if I could even make it to the hospital. So I got in the hospital, and was it the next morning? Nurse comes along, and geez, I had my underwear on and everything. How in the world did you keep this all night? I said, you didn't take them off. But the doctor there, he was an army doctor, and he was used to finger missings and leg missings. So he did a damn good job fixing it up as best as he could.
Yeah, I remember we come visit you in the hospital, and you were joking with the nurse, and you said, how am I supposed to go to the bathroom? And she goes, well, you just go ahead. And you said the doctor said no weightlifting. So.
You got too good a memory.
Yeah, I remember what you said. But that's pretty good to be joking right after have a bad accident.
There's no sense crying about it. Whatever, it's done.
Mm.
But I didn't think I could play, the mouth organ's no problem. But that other one there, that one...
The fiddle.
The fiddle, mother bought me. But then I learned how to play that too. I can still play pretty good.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Greta, yeah.
Yeah. He had trouble with his leg. Oh, that's right.
Dennis.
It was just a dugout, and it was caving in.
Mm.
So he jumped down there, threw him out, and then his leg got shaved off. That's what happened to him.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I remember he had a brace.
Yeah, a big brace on it. And
Dennis.
tried to get in the boat to go fishing. Well, he had a pretty rough time. I'd have to help him.
Yeah. I remember you were skidding logs in the forest, and I'd ride on the side of the tractor.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you'd be driving along, and then you'd get off and take their limbs off and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
that was my nursery, was riding in the tractor.
I remember that. That's quite a while ago.
Yeah.
But anyways, he ended up moving to Saskatchewan, and then he wanted me to come down different times, but I was busy making lumber for all the farmers around there, so I didn't really have time to go back and talk to him. Anyways, we go down to below the hill, and there was a sawmill in there. And I guess a guy was living in there, and I guess he'd stole a bunch of stuff, and cops were looking for him. They asked me if I knew anybody that had a shack. I said, no, I don't know anything about that. And I remembered that shack. I said, well, used to be an old sawmill down there. Well, that's what we're looking for. Said he went in and got a hold of him, never did see him again.
Was it
But
criminal?
he was killing deer and...
Oh, a poacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you used to have a lot of parties. You'd have old Henry Fiddler and big parties. I think that Donna and Fred used to come over.
Oh, those idiots, yeah.
Tell them about the I think it was a squirrel or a chipmunk used to come visit you in your shack.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to him because I left.
But he'd tell Paul about how he used to eat your boot or eat off your boot and stuff.
Oh, they would sit right on my chest at different times. But, you know, they're a real hard animal to tame. Like, first he'd come in there and he'd just take a crust and he'd run like crazy. Pretty soon I put it on my boot and he ate it there. Then he just stood on my chest and ate it right there. He really got tame, eh? And one day he's making all this noise, just a squealing. Here's some raven or something went by and he heard it and he was warning the rest. Eh? That there was danger. But I often wonder what happened to that little chipmunk after I left.
He's probably looking all over. Where's the buffet?
While, eh? But I used to take the crust and just throw him in the heater, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I thought to myself I could fix him in a hurry. But he was, you know, it takes a lot to train or even to tame one of them, eh?
Well, they're very
and
skittish.
He had to be there all the time, and then that, what the heck was his name? He'd come over, and he said, I never seen a chipmunk get tamed like that. And as soon as some stranger come in, he'd leave.
Yeah, it is unusual.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like I guess they called it like a turp shed. I made the post with a chainsaw, cut all my 6x6s, put them all up. And really, I was supposed to get an engineer to engineer this, and it had to be treated lumber, like that sort of stuff. So I treated it myself, you know, and put it all together. And the counties never ever said a word. I had bolted everything was bolted down, and you know, every which way it was, so that the wind couldn't touch it or anything like that. And you wouldn't know how many parties we had in there. Hundreds of people would be in there, sitting there having a party.
Yeah.
It's still there. Like I said, Lori and Richard, I said, I put that tarp up myself quite a few years. And then a Kubota tractor and the land was all cleared. I said, now this is your tractor, this is your shed, and the campground, the same thing. It's all yours, I want nothing to do with it.
I remember coming to the mill with you when I was little, and I'd be digging in the sawdust pile, and you had the little shed there, and the little potbelly stove thing, and
you got there with that lady and wrecked all my pictures.
No.
Tell me about that. You're smiling.
Yeah.
That must be a good story.
Yeah, the little pictures in there, and she scribbled them and made ugly women. And
Well, Dad had Playboy books, and I was bored. I didn't have nothing, toys or anything, so I drew armpit hair and whatever, beards on the ladies.
Yeah. She wasn't all good, you know.
Oh, you should have brought me some toys. Did you tell Paul about the time I needed a glass of water? When I was a little kid?
No, yeah, you said, yeah, I needed a drink of water, got it. And just, I can't drink unless Mom brings it. She got water anyway. I suppose you're a little upset over that, were you?
Well, that wasn't very nice.
Yeah. And the funny part, you know, she'd go to bed and wouldn't have to get up to pee or anything. Then she'd come up. Is that the longest pee you ever heard? Yeah, that's a pretty long one.
You don't say that. I told Paul you said that when you were a kid in school, your favorite class was recess or something like that. There was somebody who wanted to order a pie at the Chinese restaurant. He said, I want Remo pie.
He's going to say that's all pie, but asshole pie. I don't want any of that. That's all pie. Oh. Yeah. But. Yeah, he brought some out too. It's about even.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A belt buckle anymore, just like a regular belt.
Yeah. Safer.
Yeah. You don't want to advertise?
No.
There's some flies even out in
Yeah, there
December.
was a cat. He kept chasing it, but he didn't really want to catch it. I don't know why. Hi, Crystal. I would like to dedicate this song to you. I love you, Crystal.